Before I get into details, I just want to share this with you. Industry expert Dr. Bernard Weinstein spoke at a gas forum in Boston last summer saying, quote, "All those people who were here this morning, meaning fracked gas protesters, they're going to be camped out at Cove Point. Maybe it will be built. I just think the political environmental pushback is going to be tremendous. I'm just real skeptical." So why the hell am I starting you off with this? Because this is the current state of affairs for the fossil fuel industry. They know that they're an outmoded industry. They know they have public opinion against them. And were that public opinion to shift into public uprising, they'd be really fucked. The only thing saving particularly the fracked gas industry right now is the potential for exports. Meet Cove Point. Cove Point is a quaint little community on the east coast of Maryland where fossil fuel fucksticks Dominion want to build a natural gas export terminal. What the hell does that mean? Well, it means a $3.8 billion project consisting of a massive environmental and safety hazard right smack dab in a residential area, cornered on one side by a nuclear power plant and across the bay from a naval base. Really a trifecta of America's worst money pits, dirty energy and military. This terminal would be the gold mine that the industry needs to make fracked gas a feasible economic endeavor. Because currently, that shit ain't worth it. Not domestically, anyway. Since the industry discovered the quote-unquote gold mine of the Marcellus Shale, energy costs have dropped. Significantly, in fact, for businesses and consumers. The price of gas is now around $2.60 per million BTU, a unit of measurement that isn't terribly important because here's the point. Gas sells at $7 in Europe and over $10 in Northeast Asia, 4 times more expensive. Furthermore, as of right now, fracked gas is pretty much just a North American gig. China is sniffing it out, but can't quite make it happen, and oh hell's bells if it isn't worth at least a few coastline communities just to shove it in China's face that we're number one. So, with this in mind, the industry is pushing hard for the export terminal at Cove Point, pulling gas in from pipelines and liquefying it to the tune of some 3.3 million tons of greenhouse gases a year, 85 1,000-foot-long tankers carrying explosives and discharging millions of gallons of ballast water into the Chesapeake Bay, the clearing of forests, the burying of waterways, the stockpiling of toxic and explosive chemicals like benzene, acid gases, propane, and ethane, and to top it all off, no emergency evacuation route, no trained emergency personnel, no environmental or human impact reports, and not one fuck given by local politicians or law enforcement, the latter of which is getting an extra $1.5 million a year to be the bully boys of Big Dominion. But then again, fuck China, right? No. What is this, fucking middle school? Who gives a flying fuck what the price of gas is at? What's the price of the air that you breathe, you dumb shit greedy fucks? And you know what'll create more jobs than a ticking time bomb of an export terminal? Or the pipeline equivalent? Green energy. You know what'll be less toxic than a malfunctioning nuclear power plant or a fracked water seeping through your faucet? A malfunctioning solar panel. This isn't about what makes the most sense for people or planet. It's about what makes the most sense for the fossil fuel industry. That dying beast. What makes sense for the outdated, hyperinflated, fat cat, dumbass coal, oil, and gas industries. The cutely named Atlantic Sunrise Pipeline isn't meant to build jobs. It's meant to cut through protected lands, pull people from their homes via eminent domain, and above all, maintain the status quo while continuing the capitalistic extraction until this planet has nothing to do but dry heave up a petrified wood shard, which will then attempt to burn, not really realizing that the fucking thing is now basically rock. You know? It's really too bad that we can't run our system off of stupidity because fuck me, we have an endless supply of that shit. But in lieu of that, members of this broad coalition of groups and individuals continue to spread skepticism like sunshine over solar panels. Last week in D.C., several of these groups met up to discuss their growing efforts against the industry, joining forces and future actions. It was pointedly clear at this meeting that it doesn't matter whether you live in the shadows of the terminal being built, or in the pipeline's path, or even if you're hundreds of miles away. This has to do with the industry as a whole. This has to do with the world of fossil fuels. A greenwashed sinkhole of fracked water and poison gas. This has to do with our future as a country, as a people, and as a fucking planet. As activist Pennsylvania resident and Lancaster Against Pipelines member Tim Spees put it, this isn't just about a pipeline. It's about social injustice, climate change, political corruption. It's about so many things, and there are no borders. So, revolutionaries, get your calendars and your follow list out because you're going to want to know and connect with these groups. First up, we are Cove Point, the aforementioned group living in that aforementioned shadow of the export terminal, pushing to keep it from being finished. They have actions ongoing, and in fact, one coming up on January 21st, where they will hold a protest outside of Bank of America, pushing them to remove their loans in this $3.8 billion project. A little aside here, you may remember seeing that banner drop during a football game in North Carolina, home base for Bank of America. Same deal. One of the most effective ways to kill this project is to suck it dry of funds. Time and pressure can do that, but divestment can do it too. We will post that exact link on our Facebook page on for the event. And you can, of course, link to it off of their website. Next up, SEED, which stands for Stopping Extraction and Exports Destruction. SEED represents a larger coalition of groups and people fighting the whole bastion of fossil fuels, coal, oil, and gas. Next up, Lancaster Against Pipelines. Nothing too cryptic there. This organization is specifically fighting the Atlantic Sunrise Pipeline. Oh, and arts and crafts people, listen up on this one. Lancaster Against Pipelines is also the home to the PA Quilt Project, a collection of personally designed quilt squares sewn together to represent the larger issue of fracking and our connectivity on the issue of fossil fuel extraction and environmental destruction. To make and send in your square to be a part of this traveling creative activism project, visit the site above and click on PA Quilt Project. And finally, our friends Beyond Extreme Energy. You may have heard us mention them in previous episodes when we took you into the belly of the fossil fuel industry's beast, FERC. BXE has been battling the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission tirelessly, whether that be fasting or occupying or chaining themselves to the entrances. FERC is the government agency responsible for giving a green light to new extractive projects, which it has done with reckless abandon, with no concern for people or planet, just for profit. On January 21st in the morning, BXE will be disrupting the FERC monthly meeting in Central D.C., something they call truth interruptions. You can learn more about that on their site as well.